I've been told that the Army-Navy football game is on the 9th of December. Oh my God. I've been in both. Whatever shall I do?
Just make a drink and watch the game.
But I don't know anything about football.
Don't be a twat waffle and just make a drink.
I like the cut of your jib. To the booze. There you go. Good evening, sailors, soldiers, and Marines, Liberty buddies, and battle buddies. Welcome to another episode of Before the Mast, a show where I deliver the more confusing points of my service and we drink cocktails. Tonight, we're drinking a cocktail called the Army-Navy in honor of the Army and the Navy meeting each other on the gridiron to roll around in mud wearing tights like real men. But before they toss that coin, or that salad, let me throw in a flag. This'll do. I feel personally fouled by this viewer who has failed to hit like and subscribe before watching this quality content. The Army-Navy, or sometimes the Army and Navy, is a drink from the 1930s that first appears in print in the 1937 edition of Café Royale Cocktail Book, where only the name of the drink is mentioned. Well, why they mention the drink without giving you the recipe is beyond me. Seems to me that doing that in a book marketed to alcohol aficionados is particularly egregious. The first recipe comes in 1948 in The Fine Art of Mixing Drinks by David Embry, and other than that there's not much of a history to tell. So with that in mind, let's get the ingredients. This drink is fairly simple. For this drink you will need gin, I'm using Tanqueray, Angostura bitters, orgeat syrup, I'm using Torani, and lemon juice. I'm using lemon juice. Let's build this bitch. And now shake it. Like the Navy's gonna shake the Army. Or like the Army's gonna shake the Navy. Whatever. I've had a Nick and Nora cup here, chilling. Literally just chilling. And strain. Perfecto. Now for a garnish, you can put a lime twist or even float some Angostura on top. And there it is, the Army and Navy. Cheers. Well, it's a pretty drink, kind of dainty. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is delicious. Now, fans of my show, all 5 of you, know that orgeat go in like tiki drinks usually. This is not a tiki drink. It's not fruity. It's basically a gin sour with orgeat instead of simple syrup. But man, that really tickles my toes. Yeah, that's good. I was worried because, you know, gin is If it's not in the right kind of cocktail, it can be overpowering. But this is good. Cheers, Dicks. Speaking of the Army and Navy, I had the distinct pleasure of serving in both. In fact, my military career is a personnelman's nightmare. And confusing enough that some overly zealous vet bros try to pin me for stolen valor. I'll expound on that shortly. I originally joined the Navy in 1995. I served in the USS Peleliu until 2001. Then I went to NAS Lemoore, a wretched plot of land in the middle of the inhospitable and damn near uninhabitable San Joaquin Valley of California. It's a hellish shithole. It smells like cow shit year round. In the summer it gets up to 120. In the winter it gets down to 20. The water smells like sulfur, and it looks like it's been filtered through a rusty trombone. Well, while I was there, 9/11 happened. And I wanted to do something other than be on shore as the base barracks complex POIC, so I got out and joined the Army. Well, the California National Guard, more specifically. But I was immediately mobilized. I think I only did one drill before being activated. Yeah. And in that one weekend, I had to get used to the idiosyncrasies of the Army. For instance, we were doing a PFT 2-mile run. The company commander came running up next to me and says, "Pick up the pace, Sergeant Burks. You only have 5 more minutes." And instinctively, I said, "Aye, sir." And he looked incredulous at me and said, "Aye? In the Army, we say hooah." And I said, "Huh?" And he said, "Exactly," and ran off. Well, I did my year-long deployment. I survived terrorists, the baked bean challenge, and when I came back, I went back into the Navy. It's not that I was a bad soldier, it's just that I think I made a better sailor. But then 4 years later, the Navy downsized, forcing me out. This is the Cliff Notes version of my career, so forgive me if I'm a bit vague. You'd be vague too if your career took so many turns for the worse. So I ended up back in the Army, this time in Iraq. Well, Iraq was the nail in my career coffin because I got a little bit beat up. Well, I retired from the Army, having served 13 years in the Navy, and the Army only 3. So every once in a while, I'll wear my Army dress blue uniform with surface warfare device and Navy ribbons sprinkled in with the Army awards. Invariably, some barracks lawyer will come up and start quizzing me, kind of in an adversarial tone. "What's that ribbon?" "Coast Guard Meritorious Unit Commendation." "I've never seen that pin before." "It's the Navy Surface Warfare pin." "I see you got the 3rd ID combat badge." Usually by this time I get where they're going, and I'm not really feeling like constantly explaining myself. So I say, "Look, guy, If I was going to commit some form of stolen valor, don't you think my highest award would be something better than an AAM? Or don't you think I might sport a CIB? Or at least a CAB? Go find someone else to aim your righteous indignation at. Sometimes it's not easy being the product of two-branch service. It's even harder when the service that you retired from is the service that you spent the least amount of time in. Like there's always something somebody wants you to prove. Whatever. I get my retirement check. And it comes with a perk. On Army-Navy football day, I can just wait until the fourth quarter to figure out who I'm rooting for this year. More often than not, it's the Navy. You know, something I get asked very often is which branch I like better, the Army or the Navy? And the answer is the Navy. Why? The Navy will send you away for 6 months, and you'll see some pretty shitty places. But along the way, you'll see some very cool places. You'll meet interesting people. You'll work hard, but you'll have the opportunity to play hard. Very hard, in fact, as you well know if you've watched any of the other episodes. But the Army? Well, the Army, well, it'll send you away for a year. And by its very nature, inevitably, it's the shittiest place on the planet. You'll observe the worst humanity has to offer and participate in the worst things people can be called upon to do. But how about peacetime? Don't worry. The Army has you covered. You'll spend weeks and weekends in the field. It'll be raining and you'll be soaking wet. It could be hotter than a freshly fucked fox in a forest fire and your nuts are sweating off and you'll still be soaking wet. With any luck, you'll get the tortellini MRE. But more likely, you'll get Army hot chow, which is a biscuit soaked in green bean water with an entree of beanie weenie on the side. If you're unlucky, you'll get the dreaded vomit MRE because some douchebag in headquarters platoon already rated the MREs before you. Fucking bastards. Yes. The Army embraces the suck with a veracity that makes whatever the Navy can do to you seem like a day at the beach. Either way, you're going to deal with ass cheeks and buttholes and while making some of the best friends life has to offer. I'm proud to have served in both. But there's a reason most of my stories are related to the Navy. Much of my exciting experiences in the Army, I'd rather try to forget. Here's to whichever team wins. Cheers, Dicks. And here's to whichever team's best just wasn't good enough. Cheers, losers. And here's to you. Cheers, assholes.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Way, hey, and up she rises. Way, hey, and up she rises. Way, hey, and up she rises. Early in the morning. Putting in the longboat until he's sober. Putting in the longboat until he's sober. Putting in the
sidebar. These make me gassy. And it comes with a perk. Don't worry, I'll get there. Ooh. First you're over here. Now you're over there. First you're over here. Now you're over there. I think I have gin cheeks. Like merry old Saint Nick. Oh, look. Hey, come here. This is Frankie. Frankie's my, he's my eyebrow dog.